Governor and Lieutenant Governor, delegate to the U.S. House of Representatives, senatorial candidates, St. Thomas, St. John District, and St. Croix District, airing Mondays and Fridays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Your voice, your vision, your platform. Reserve your interviews today. Interview slots are limited and available on a first-come, first-served basis. Reach voters across the Virgin Islands, sharing your qualifications, campaign priorities, vision for the territory, community solutions, goals, and accomplishments. Connect directly with an engaged audience and inform voters ahead of the 2026 election. Call 340-774-1340, extension 0. Meet the candidates. Inform, engage, empower, giving candidates a voice and voters the information they need.
Hi, I'm Kajani Charleswell, a sophomore at the University of the Virgin Islands. Today, I'd like to tell you a little bit about one of the people who has made a difference in my life, Senator Marvin Blyden. As one of more than 80 interns Senator Blyden has hired during his time in the legislature, I had the opportunity to work in his office during my senior year of high school and for 2 summers afterward. At first, I wasn't excited about working in an office all day, but it turned out to be one of the best experiences I've ever had. I developed my communication, teamwork, and problem-solving skills, and most importantly, I saw what it means to show up every day, work hard, and serve our community. Working alongside Senator Blyden, I saw firsthand his passion and commitment to helping the people of the Virgin Islands, especially our seniors, our youth, and hardworking families. He invested in me just as he has invested in so many other young people across our community. I'm grateful for everything I learned, and I'm proud to support his re-election. On election day, join me in voting to re-elect Senator Marvin A. Blyden. Vote Marvin Blyden, number 3 on the ballot.
This is Marvin Blyden, and I approve this message.
Got to be a solution to this pollution. Yeah. Got to find a solution to this pollution.
Hi, this is your Senator and Advocate, Marvin Blyden, number 3 on your primary ballot. Home ownership is the most important investment that anyone can make. This is why I sponsored the First Time Homebuyers Program, which appropriated $4 million, worked with government officials and a private management company to afford 300 middle-income Virgin Islanders homeownership opportunities. Additionally, I worked with a private and public sector entities to have the first innovative housing summit in the territory, which addressed affordability and access. For continued housing initiatives and solutions, I ask you for your support, your vote, and your prayers. Number 3 on your primary ballot. Thank you, and God bless. This is Marvin Blyden, and I approve this message.
And we want to welcome you to Meet the Candidates. And our very first guest is Senator Marvin Blyden. Good morning, Senator. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, Peter. I'm blessed. How you doing? And good morning to the people of the Virgin Islands.
Great. Welcome. Great to have you with us. And let's talk a little bit. And I want you to tell the persons out there who might be listening and really don't know who this veteran senator is. Senator Marvin Blyden. Tell them what got you interested, what led you to, public service.
Well, honestly, I never liked politics, to be very honest with you. I still don't like politics, but I'm in a game of politics, but I see myself as a public servant. My co-workers, honestly, and my tenants at the time at the Housing Authority are the ones who encouraged me to run based on my performance, based on the way I reacted to them, based on the passion I had for them, and based on my work when it comes to working in the housing space and being opposed to several initiatives and policies that had implemented on our community, but at the same time, I always pushed back in a good way and got stuff changed as a result of my advocacy. So that's how I got into politics, and my co-workers and my tenants are the one who actually got the petitions, fill it out for me, and said, listen, you're going to run. Because they were encouraging me for a couple of times. Well, And I was like, no, I don't want to have no part of that. But at the end of the day, I'm glad I did, and I'm glad I gave in at that time, and that's how I end up here as a senator in the Virgin Islands.
Let me ask you, what continues to motivate you, keep you just getting up and going? Although it's sometimes the stuff you got planned and want to see happen, it's a slow process.
What motivates me, honestly, is the people and the issues and my mindset. I'm a workaholic, as most folks know. I think differently. I think outside the box. And what motivates me is to see what happens when you make a positive impact in someone's life and you see the end results. And there are many, many, many stories that I have seen, many individuals that I've worked with, and that is the reason why I do it. Because guess what? That is who I am. And I believe that that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me motivated, because many times when I finish work and I go home, I'm like, oh my God, I did not get this accomplished, or what else can I have done differently? So I believe it's the passion and the love for the people that keeps me going. I would sum it up to that.
What would you consider your, since being in the Senate body, what's your greatest strength?
My greatest strength, to me is I'm a people's person. I'm a communicator. Um, I would say I work well with others. And I'm a leader, you know, I'm a leader, and I'm a no nonsense person. I have an open door policy, and I am a no nonsense person. And again, my passion. I think that's my strength and my love.
Okay. Now, I know you've have a history from being in the housing, from public housing. You've been working in the housing department. That's on their thing. But tell us, and I know housing and home ownership been one of your big passions. But I saw a Senate hearing some time back, and you were complaining how slow the process is, and not enough is not being done. Let's share that with our audience.
Well, definitely. Not only I'm in housing, but I'm also do contract work. I'm in a house, I'm in a building space, and I have an issue when you have so many individuals um not having a place to live, have to stay with the parents, not being able to expand the horizon. Many of them leave the territory, so we are recycling our best minds to other communities. And I know there is a better way. There is a solution, and that's all I focus on. Um, I believe that we need to streamline processes. We need to um, implement more legislation to assist our people here in the territory with being able to afford a home. We must be innovative and creative in terms of bringing down the price point and create access to have those opportunities available to our people. So yeah, that's why I'm frustrated. That's why I'm still here, because at the end of the day, I always said before I leave this space, I'm going to assure that as much people as possible in the territory, especially our young people, can afford a home and um, can afford to stay here in this territory, because it's not easy and it's very expensive. So we must find a way to give them the opportunity to have that home ownership opportunity.
So what are some of the proposals or ideas you have to make it easier for persons, and to get a home, you need good credit, you need a line of different things that most people don't necessarily think about until it's time to say, let's try to get a home, and they're just being turned down.
Well, that's a great question, and it's an important question, because many of the things I have done and been working on since I've been in this space. Number one is working with HFA, the Housing Finance Authority, in terms of educating individuals, which they have been doing. I've been working with other non-for-profit and other agencies to see how we can actually increase opportunities for our people. When I say opportunities, of course, I mentioned a first-time home buyers program. Of course, we have the SICE program. And of course, we have many other programs within the Housing Finance Authority that can assist people, like the System and SLAB program. But right now, they're adding septic to that also, because based on conversation, which makes sense. So there are different things that's being done to assist individuals. But most importantly, coming from my office and what I have done, in addition to all of those other programs, I have actually created a summit. You understand, the Innovative Housing Construction Summit, because we have to be innovative. We don't build, and we don't have to build like we used to back in the days. Whereas right now, most of these buildings you see going up in the States in months. They are building in a lab. They have not a lab, but they're built in a plant. Whereas they do the drawing, 3D drawing, they they put the parts together and they ship them to the area, and they actually do it like in a quick, fast process and a quick, fast way. And we have to be innovative in doing that also in the territory. The key is, though, those structures must be resilient, they must be to code, and they must be able to pass DPNR permitting process. And what I've been doing is working with DPNR to assure that these materials are pre-approved, where it makes sense. Once you get these materials through whatever company, you can go ahead and start building your home without having to go through all that permitting process, etc., etc. So it makes sense. Like I say, I think outside the box, and I believe time is money, especially in construction. Labor is money, especially in construction. So I have been doing all of these things to assure that my people have a fair chance of becoming a homeowner, because of the most important investment that anyone can make. And I will continue to go on a path until most of my people are homeowners in the territory. But I can say much more, but that's just a little bit of it. And I do have a summit coming up again, the second annual, on the 13th of next month in St. Thomas and the 15th on St. Croix. So that's why I'm doing what I do.
Let's talk a little bit. You're talking about homes. Let's talk about persons who own homes, families, and homes are just tied up in, nobody did paperwork. You have
Probate,
a will,
probate.
I think that law needs to change.
Well, well, first of all, even before we go there, we need to educate our families in respect to probate and wills and deeds and trust. We must educate ourselves and our families, because if you do that, you don't have to worry about that other part. So the summit also addresses those issues. We do have financial advisors there. We do have financial planning individuals there. We do have AARP and other institute that actually deals with that type of stuff, the Lieutenant Governor's office. We must all come together to educate our people, because you're correct. There are so many properties and probate in the Virgin Islands. That's why you're seeing so much blighted buildings around here because of probate issues. I myself, even though I'm a senator, I went through that probate process. I just got out of probate after 8 years. 8 years. And that's unacceptable to me. So we are bringing forward legislation. As a matter of fact, I have legislation to create a probate division within the court. And those judges will deal only with probate cases. And there are other legislation that's coming forward also to assist in that endeavor. And AARP is doing a great job in terms of educating individuals when it comes to probate. So yes, that's a problem. That's something I've been working on. I'm going to continue to work on, because it affected me and my family personally, and it should not be happening. That's why my passion is to make sure I educate as much people as possible, not to fall into that trap.
Let's talk and looking ahead. We have an issue with jobs. Not there's a lot of jobs available, but persons to fill them because lack of training and all that type of stuff, especially young people. How do share with us the process? If a person say, hey, I want to be a police officer, or I want to be a nurse, but I want to get my home, what's the process they would have to go through with the salary that they're making that might not be, the one that the bank would say, yes, we're going to give you the money for it? What's the process?
Well, there are several avenues to get assistance. And since you talk about people and jobs, that's very important. That's critical, because you can't get anything without a job. Okay, and that's why we made free tuition available for many individuals to get education, trades, etc. We've been assisting in that area. But in terms of the process, the first thing you do, honestly, is we have housing agencies. You go to the Housing Finance Authority. They have many different programs, and you inquire what's your desire. You want a piece of land? You want a home? You see what I'm saying? Or what do you want? They have many different programs, and you just speak with those individuals, and they would guide you in the right direction. Now, in respect to individuals who do not want to take that route, say you have a land already, and you just want a loan to assist you with putting a structure on that land. That's why I'm bringing a summit also because we have many people here that's land rich and cash poor. Last year we went to St. Croix and we did a summit. I mean, I felt so good because I was shocked to see the amount of older folks came to the summit. Older folks who have land, many of them several pieces of land, and still could not get a home. So what the summit did was bring all of these entities together to assist those individuals and bring those companies that can assist them that they did not know about, that can actually assist them in terms of hitting a price point in order to get a loan from the bank. And being creative like that and innovative like that also can assist many individuals who didn't even have a clue that these products existed. You see what I'm saying? And we educating them in terms of, because when you're older or you're accustomed, you feel, well, no, I gotta pour my house and I can't put no kind of other structure besides blocks inside the house. No, them days are done. We can't afford it anymore. And right now, once you have a hardened structure on the outside, you can put anything on the inside and bring down your price point. So you gotta be very, very educated as to how to build your home, what's available to you. You have choices with different materials that can assist you in actually driving on your price point for your home. And that will give you one thing, to give access to institution that lends funds in order for you to build a home. So you got to be creative.
Let me ask, when we just talk about educating masses, where do we start? In high school?
Definitely in high school. Definitely in school, period, and at home. And at home.
Money management, housing, and investment.
Correct. And it always begins at home and in the schools, because that's where it begins. That's why, and I always say this in terms of home ownership, the most important investment, because you're not only investing in your home, but you're investing in legacy. You see what I'm saying? Because guess what? That's residual income. That's a place that you meet with your family and sit down, have dinner, have lunch, have conversations, and you can actually educate your kids at the table while you're eating, while you're just having leisure time. So a home is much more than a structure. You see what I'm saying? It's much more than a structure. So that's the way I see it. That's the way I grew up. Every time it was dinner time, we all had to come out of the basketball court, wherever we were, we had to run, and we had to eat at the table. We pray together. You see what I'm saying? So it's much more than a structure, in my opinion. It's to me, is bringing families together. It's survival. It's educational. It's about having that conversation, and that's the way I see it. So I think a home is very important. That's where the structure begins, right there in the house. With everything else, that way you won't see a lot of what's going on right now, because people still can't meet anymore. They don't have that opportunity.
Let's talk a little bit about some of your successes as far as programs, areas, and that you have helped citizens get into. Some of the projects. What are some of those names of projects that you have a lot to do with?
Well, honestly, every and anything that have anything to do with housing, disability, individuals, folks with special need, I've been a sponsor or co-sponsor of those legislations. What I bring to the table, honestly, is I work well with everyone. And once it makes sense, I got you. I'm going to support it, because it's not about me; it's about the people. And the integration unit with Vitima, which is has to do with before, during, or after hurricane, people with special needs and disability. We need to make sure we pay special attention to those individuals, whereas we actually coordinate and bring everyone together to assure that we are taking care of them, and we also do the tracking. That was I'm very proud of that legislation. It makes sense, and it's still in place in terms of assuring that we look out for those individuals. I have so many bills, I honestly don't even know where to begin. I sponsored over 100 legislation over my time in the legislature, and I'm proud of every one of them. But at the end of the day, like I said, any legislation that's positive um, for my people and will move them in a positive direction, I am all for it. I have also been a strong advocate for many vexing issues in the community, especially when it comes to health, when it comes to housing, when it comes to WAPA. Um, I don't even want to go there because we have done a lot in terms of investment. We have invested over $160 million to the authority, and not because um, we feel that they are really their management is really not on point. But at the same time, we understood that if we did not do that, you and me and the people of the Virgin Islands would be paying light bill of over $1,000 easily. Reason being, people don't talk about this. Reason being, the LIAC. The LIAC have not really changed because we have been supplementing that. You see what I'm saying? We have been doing that. We have been filling that gap. People don't realize that. They say, Blyden, I keep on giving up our money. I got to stop. I say, I like, do you understand what's going on? If we stop giving up those funds, you know what I'm saying? Despite their challenges, we know they have challenges because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's vexing. I'm sick of it. But at the same time, as a senator, I have to understand. Okay, if I don't give them these funds, you might be without light for months because many of my people cannot afford it. It's unaffordable, and that is the elephant in the room. That right there is killing our whole economy in every way, shape, and form, from jobs to folks being able to actually learn, to folks actually dying, to folks actually dying. That is why I continue to reach out and assist individual generators, etc. I don't talk much about it, but that's what I do on a regular basis, especially those with equipment and machinery to breathe, to get around, etc. But it's the biggest challenge to me in the territory, our grid, and they're finally, I was told, um, making progress in terms of their challenges. But I believe that we need to sue because that company, we invested in those generators to make it better, and it's worse for us. We are suffering. It's worse, and it's not fair, and it's not right. So that's gonna happen down the road. But as of right now, it's like driving a car and fixing it at the same time. What you gonna do? You're driving a car and fixing it at the same time. You see what I'm saying? And I understand what's going on in that space. So I do not. I would not like to be in this. I would like to be them at this time because they have a lot to deal with on a daily basis, and the workers are on point. They're doing what must be done and what needs to be done. But it's a situation they find themselves in is very challenging. And I pray for them and I just wish them the best. And I work with them, I talk to them. I went to St. John a couple of days ago and I got attacked. attacked. Blyden, what's going on with the power? And I said, listen, I have every right to be vexed. Hold a second. I called the executive director and had a conversation with him right then. I appreciate him answering the phone. And he explained everything. They get it. So they're like, you know what? Okay, he said by the end of the month, you guys should be okay, and we have some good, better stuff coming for you. But the point is, we need to communicate better, in my opinion. You know, let people know. Let's be real and let them know exactly what we are, what we're dealing with. Be plain and simple, and let them know where we're at, so we can move forward. Because we're in the same boat, and I ain't going nowhere, and most of my people ain't going nowhere. Those who really can't deal with it for medical issues and stuff have to leave. But that's not right. You know, this is our home. And we must do everything to protect it. And that is my mindset. I'm going to do everything in my power to do the right thing on behalf of the people because I'm not working for me, I'm working for them.
Great. Let's talk a little bit before time run out of us. Your community involvement and some of the passion and your involvement with the community that you do on a regular that we may not know about.
Yeah, I do it behind the scene, to be honest with you. Since the hurricane, I've been doing distribution every 3 months. And I spoke about some of that with the generators, extension cord, gas tank, defibrillators, flashlights, batteries, healthcare items, food, you name it. I've been doing that every 3 months in conjunction with Caribbean Climate Change and other not-for-profit organizations because I feel as a legislator and a public servant, it is my duty. That's just my mindset. It's my duty to give back and to help those in need, especially my seniors and the young people, because of my relationships with many groups and my track record. They trust me, and my people trust me. So I must do what I have to do on their behalf because that's what it's all about relationships. If I was not in the space, I might not have had the opportunity to connect with these different organizations in order to assist them. But because of what I do, they usually reach out to me whenever they need to distribute stuff, and I actually go out myself and distribute it to the different people. And I love doing that. It's necessary, especially in these times, and it's needed. And I would pray that many other organizations will also do likewise and assist our people, especially now when we need those items more than ever. But that's my passion, and I enjoy doing it, and I will continue to do so.
Let me ask you, as a senior member of the legislature, how has it been working with other senators, minority senators? You know, how has that been?
To be honest with you, like I told you, I get along well with anyone. I am a very optimistic person. I believe we all want the same end result, but the issue is always how do we get there? Everyone wants to get there to a different direction. But at the end of the day, if I see a passion, I understand where you're coming from. I'm gonna work with you. Me and my minority senators get along great. I get along with every single one of them. I'm my majority members. So for me, it has never been an issue with or conflict with individual because even before I got there, I get along with all my colleagues. And as a matter of fact, my coworkers are the one who encouraged me to run. You see what I'm saying? So it's about relationships. It's about working well with others. And as a result of that, I've always done that. I've always had an open door policy to my office. I mean, many days I'm so busy at the legislature. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I have an open door policy, and I don't have a problem with people coming to me for whatever the issue is. And if I can't fix it, I'm going to find someone who can. And that's how I have always been, and I will continue to do that. Like I said, when I ran at first, when I ran for Senate at first, I was like, I'm not running to do something different. I just want to do something on a bigger scale because I've been doing this. I've been doing this all my life. That's what I've been doing. It's just on a bigger scale. And as a result of that, I can have more people in a grander way. And that's why I enjoy and I honestly like working on behalf of the people. That's I want to see a better community. I want to see us living in a better light, in a better way. And I believe I've made an impact in a positive way in many ways. As a senator, as a Virgin Islander, as an advocate, as a public servant, I have done my part, and I will continue to do such things.
Well, I want to say thank you for putting yourself up again. Because lección, even though you don't execute some of the stuff, people don't understand that the legislature, they do laws, but it's an administration have to execute whatever the laws are.
Correct.
So whether it happens or not, you'll still get some leaks.
Of course. But you know what though? I had that Blyden. It's all good. I'm built for it. My love is real and my passion is evident, and everyone sees it through me. And that's what they always tell me. I'm real. When I go in the community, Blyden, you're real, and I appreciate that. And that's all that matters. I am real. I'm not gonna boboless you. I'm not gonna tell you stuff that's not true. I'm gonna tell you like it is. I don't believe in that. You gotta be straightforward with people, and they will respect you more. And that's what I try to do. I'm not gonna grandstand. I'm not gonna go on with all that. Many times when we have hearing, you know what I do? After the hearing, I go and meet with those commissioners. I go and meet with those directors. I go and meet with those organizations to see what the issue is and how we can correct it. And many times I get through. You know why? I do respectfully. And I cannot help my people if I have friction, they don't want to help me, they don't want to talk to me, they don't answer the phone, I call any one of those commissioners, they answer the phone. You know why? You know, Blyden is respectful to them. And Blyden's here to help them. I'm not here to work against you, because guess what? At the end of the day, we are on the same team. We're in the same boat. So that's my mindset of what my parents taught me, and that's the way I carry myself. So I will continue to do that. I ain't got the loudest mouth, but trust me, I get solutions. I get things done. Is that the bottom line?
Ah, la, la. In a minute, I'm going to come back to you so you can wrap up. But let's hear this first, and we will be right back.
Got to find a solution.
Hi, I'm Kajani Charleswell, a sophomore at the University of the Virgin Islands. Today, I'd like to tell you a little bit about one of the people who has made a difference in my life, Senator Marvin Blyden. As one of more than 80 interns Senator Blyden has hired during his time in the legislature, I had the opportunity to work in his office during my senior year of high school and for 2 summers afterward. At first, I wasn't excited about working in an office all day, but it turned out to be one of the best experiences I've ever had. I developed my communication, teamwork, and problem-solving skills, and most importantly, I saw what it means to show up every day, work hard, and serve our community. Working alongside Senator Blyden, I saw firsthand his passion and commitment to helping the people of the Virgin Islands, especially our seniors, our youth, and hardworking families. He invested in me just as he has invested in so many other young people across our community. I'm grateful for everything I learned, and I'm proud to support his re-election. On election day, join me in voting to re-elect Senator Marvin A. Blyden. Vote Marvin Blyden, number 3 on the ballot.
This is Marvin Blyden, and I approve this message.
Got to be a solution to this pollution. Yeah. Got to find a solution to this pollution.
Hi, this is your Senator and Advocate, Marvin Blyden, number 3 on your primary ballot. Home ownership is the most important investment that anyone can make. This is why I sponsored the First Time Homebuyers Program, which appropriated $4 million, worked with government officials and a private management company to afford 300 middle-income Virgin Islanders homeownership opportunities. Additionally, I worked with the private and public sector entities to have the first innovative housing summit in the territory, which addressed affordability and access. For continued housing initiatives and solutions, I ask you for your support, your vote, and your prayers. Number 3 on your primary ballot. Thank you, and God bless. This is Marvin Blyden, and I approve this message.
Okay, and we just want to give you a chance to wrap up before I let you go.
Okay, thank you again, Peter, for the opportunity to share some of my ideas with the people of the Virgin Islands. And I honestly want the people of the Virgin Islands to remember when they go to the poll that Marvin Blyden honestly do love the Virgin Islands and our people. And I spend every day working on your behalf and thinking of ways to improve the quality of life for all people of this territory. We know inflation is going up on a daily basis. We know we have many challenges. We know we have many vexing issues, but this is one of the best places in the world, in my opinion, to live. And I want as much of my people to stay here as possible in terms of us being able to afford it, in terms of being able to afford our homes, our cars, food, etc. Again, this is Marvin Blyden, number 3 on your primary ballot. I ask for your prayers, your vote, and your support. Thank you so much, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us, and have a great day. Lucky 13 WSTA. WSTA Radio 1340 AM, the People Station, presents Meet the Candidates, a 2026 interview series open to candidates for governor and lieutenant governor, delegates to the U.S. House of Representatives, senatorial candidates, St. Thomas, St. John District, and St. Croix District, airing Mondays and Fridays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Your voice, your vision, your platform. Reserve your interviews today. Interview slots are limited and available on a first-come, first-served basis. Reach voters across the Virgin Islands, sharing your qualifications, campaign priorities, vision for the territory, community solutions, goals, and accomplishments. Connect directly with an engaged audience and inform voters ahead of the 2026 election. Call 340-774-1340 extension 0. Meet the candidates. Inform, engage, empower, giving candidates a voice and voters the information they need.
Hometown Proud.
The only station I listen to.
WSTA 1340.